What's up, y'all? It's another episode of the More Action Podcast. My name is Brandon J. In this episode, I'm gonna explain how I manage all my credit cards. What's up?
Life of a hustler, gotta do it for mother, gotta do it for father, even though he act like a sucker. Life of a hustler, gotta do it for granny, gotta do it for brothers, even if they think I don't love them. Been getting active and hustling.
I have over, I think what I got like 10 credit cards, to be honest with you. But there's a couple of reasons why having a lot of credit cards available is beneficial. But I've explained that in other videos. In this one, I'm gonna explain how I manage them all. I told somebody that I had as many credit cards as I do, and they asked how. First of all, why, but how? I'm not gonna tell you something that I got from somebody else. This is just what I do. It's nothing crazy, but it's just what I do. First things first, when you have a bunch of credit cards, you only need so many debit cards. In my opinion, you should have 1 to 2 debit cards. Out of all the banks that I have credit with, I only have a checking account with 2 of them. Now, I'll get more in the future to build relationships, but for right now, to keep things simple and to keep things in order, I only have 2. This helps me pay off my credit cards easier because I don't have a bunch of checking accounts that I'm pulling from. I'm paying all of my credit cards off with one of my 2 bank accounts. I don't have to put money in multiple bank accounts so I can pay off all of the different credit cards. I only have to deposit money into 1 or 2 accounts, and that account pays for all of my credit cards. With that being said, having 2 checking accounts to pay for your credit cards, now it doesn't matter how many credit cards you have, because the next thing I'm going to tell you to do is make a physical calendar. Got a calendar from Walmart or somewhere, and I wrote every single bill that I had due throughout the month on this calendar. And then I just took a picture of it. If you do this, you won't have to remember the dates of your credit cards or your bills. The only habit you need to remember is look at the calendar. Now, one other thing, I never worry about what day a bill falls on. Monday, Tuesday, Saturday, it doesn't matter. The only thing you ever need to worry about is the number. If you have a bill due on the 2nd, you need to think about the 2nd. I have this calendar, and every day I wake up, I look at it to remind myself what bills are coming up and what bills might be due today. Like I mentioned before, you should be paying all of your bills with credit. Now, obviously, you can't pay off credit with credit, but your phone bill, rent, lights, water, you can pay these with your credit card. Now, once again, this is just what I did. I put the letter C next to every bill that I can pay with credit. So now, just imagine I wake up, it's the 5th, and I see that my water bill's due, and there's a letter C next to it. Even if I've lost track of what day it was or that bill was due today, now as soon as I look at the calendar, I just know it's time to pay the water bill and I can use credit. It's just a nice, simple reminder, which is why I only use 1 or 2 of my credit cards. I don't use all of them. I just use a couple. I mentioned in other videos, it's better to have a bunch of credit. You don't have to use it all. I only really stress the dates the credit cards are due, because those dates I have to now use debit. I can't use credit to pay off my credit cards. And if I wanted to, that's a whole nother method we'll talk about in another video. The 1 or 2 dates in the month that I have to pay off the credit card, I want to have that exact amount in my checking account at least a week before the due date. And that's why I love my calendar. The only habit you need to have is to look at the calendar every day you wake up. Because when you wake up, you can see, obviously, 5 days ahead, what's due today. I feel like a lot of people get so used to their phones, but when you write it down and you physically look at it every single day, or you look at the picture of it like I do after physically making it, it helps me more. So the calendar itself should have all the dates that bills are due and your credit cards are due. Like I said, if you want to put a letter next to these bills to remind yourself how you can pay for them, you won't believe how much of a relief it is sometimes to not have to check and see if you have the money. You can just pay for the bill with a credit card. Now, throughout the month, make deposits into your checking account that match what you've paid for. When the time comes, paying off the credit card should be no problem. Now, I know this doesn't seem like rocket science because it isn't, okay? It's just some people make it seem like having a bunch of credit cards is difficult. But the only reason to be difficult is if you started using every single card that you have, holding a balance and paying minimums, and now you're worrying about how much interest and this and that you're paying. Just make it simple on yourself. Use 1 to 2 credit cards and have 1 to 2 debit cards. Rotate the money, pay your bills, build your credit, and then pay off the credit cards with your debit. And that should be pretty much the only transactions you have on your debit card, because you can pay for everything with credit. And it's just way simpler and safer to buy things, make purchases, pay bills with your credit, because if anything goes wrong, it wasn't your money. You know, that's the point. Use other people's money to live your life and then pay it off on time. Another little thing I do for my 0% interest credit cards is I write the month and the year that 0% interest stops underneath that credit card due date on my calendar. So, for example, if I have a Capital One credit card payment due on the 18th, if that card is 0% interest for 12 months, 18 months, I will write the month that 0% interest in the year that 0% interest stops underneath the due date on the calendar. This way, if I have an outstanding balance that I didn't remember was going to transfer into a certain amount of interest during this time, because like I said, the 0% interest only lasts for so long. If you are using the money to make moves and, you know, make some profits, and you don't want to pay interest, it's best to pay off the balance before the 0% interest period ends. So having that right there underneath the due date on your calendar is going to remind you every month the 0% ain't going to last forever. It's going to end at this time. Some people may think this is a lot, but it really isn't. It's only a couple of things you have to remember every day, which is look at your calendar, decide whether you're going to use a credit card or a debit card to pay this bill. That's it. That's why I do this, because with this calendar drawn out and having the picture on my phone, those are the only two things I need to do every day, is check the calendar and decide which card am I going to pay my bill with, if one is even due. Because think about it, the days that you don't have bills due, if you just look at your calendar, it'll keep you on track, and you'll be putting money away for bills earlier. You'll be paying bills off earlier. When you look at the calendar, you're reminding yourself that you have stuff to pay for. You know, this is what I do, and that's why I'm telling y'all, you know, keep track of everything. And the same way I look at this calendar every day, I look at my bank accounts every day. Not all of the credit cards, obviously, because I'm not using all of them, but the cards that I'm using, you should be looking at your bank account, your checking, your credit card, you should be logging in and looking at your balances every day. Somebody could be committing fraud and charging shit to your debit, to your credit. You never know. But if you are on top of it, you can catch something and freeze your card and lock your account so it stops, or call the bank, whatever you have to do. But some people get caught off guard and let things happen for 10 days, 20 days, and they don't even remember to check their bank account, to check what bills are due. Some people needed to hear this to fix how they're going to handle their finances next month. So if you're that person, you're welcome. But if you already knew this, if you have a calendar and you're already looking at your bills and your bank accounts every single day of the year, congratulations. That's exactly what the wealthy do. If you aren't, familiar, comfortable with looking at your money, you're probably not going to start making more of it. Get serious about your finances, And if you start getting multiple credit cards to help your credit score, like I've been telling you to do, it's really not that hard to keep track of everything. As long as you remember that you only need 1 to 2 of everything, debit, credit in use, okay? And that numbers are better than days. Don't go thinking about what you want to do Friday and this, that, and the other. Check what date it is. If it's the 6th, you need to be worried about what's supposed to be happening on the 6th and what should be happening on the 10th, because you're smart and you are thinking days ahead. After you figure out all of that and get your bills paid and things of that nature, then you can go, oh, it's Saturday and I got some extra money. Let's go out. You don't spend your extra money first and then find out that you were supposed to pay a bill and that you was late on don't do this to yourself, okay? But hey, that's today's episode. I just want everybody to keep track of what they're doing. I want people to build their credit scores. I want people to have the relief of paying your bills on time because credit is available and you don't have to worry about what's in your checking at the moment. I want that for all of you. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel, like the video, leave a comment. I appreciate y'all for watching. It's the More Action Podcast. I'm Brandon J. And till next time, pay attention to your payments. Pay attention to what you got to pay for. Make it a priority. All right. Peace.